Give me your takeaway on a game that, I think a lot of us, even Vegas, expected them to win by multiple touchdowns. It was, supposed to be an
Yeah.
easy romp, if you will, over a 1-9 opponent out there, and it turned out to be a bit closer than I think anybody was comfortable with. But it's a win. So how do you view that game? What was your takeaway?
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought the Seahawks dominated first, for the majority of three quarters, and then you give up a punt return. Was it a kickoff return for a
Punt return.
touchdown? Yeah,
Yeah.
punt return for a touchdown. You give up, I mean, I will say this: Tennessee has gotten better. They have simplified things for their quarterback. He's a dynamic player. The first drive of the game is a 15 play drive that they don't capitalize on. But um, I thought for the most part, Seahawks handled them, quite well. And then, you gave up like I said, a cheap touchdown drive late in the game and all that stuff. And so the score becomes, palatable, right? It's like, wow, they really came back. But really that game was never close. And
Yeah.
I thought the Seahawks dominated from start to finish. And it's hard once you have that big lead to continue to put the foot on the pedal, so to speak. So, like the one big takeaway for me, more than probably anything else, was like your organization's ability to identify, hey man, Smith-Njigba is going to be a big time star. And we just got to get him. We've got to make him the number one. We've got to move off of DK Metcalf to give him the opportunity to do what we believe he's going to do. And man, I watched that dude. I mean, just run by guys. He had that slot catch over the safety where he just ran by and then just very subtle at the top of that route, just using his hand to create a little bit of space, not extending all the way. He kept his elbow bent, but just
Yeah.
kind of feeling that guy off. I just thought savvy stuff from Smith-Njigba, caught the big over route as well. Dude is just unbelievable off the ball. And I always say this: you're going to win late, you got to win early. And he wins the routes right off the bat, wins early, and then puts so much stress on a defense. I just thought their balance. And you think about this, like the points you put up at 30, whatever points you put up, I think they scored 30 it on 26 passes. I just is they're doing some special things as a football team. And you look at the top of that division where you've got the Rams, probably the best team in football right now, the Seahawks and the Niners, all right there, kind of 1, 2, 3 in the NFC in general, man. It's pretty amazing what they've been able to accomplish this year.
Hey, Mark, what'd you think of the offensive line play? I watched on the way back. I was really impressed. And Jeffrey Simmons had one quarterback hit, two tackles, and it looked like they were going after him. And I don't know if you saw the run play where Cross was almost like out of bounds and came back in and just smacked him. And it seemed like they were just going to get after him, and because he was like the best player on that entire team going in.
Yes.
And a couple of double teams with Olu and Zabel where they just entirely buried him. So I thought they did a really good job. What'd you think of the offensive line play?
I did as well. And it goes back to what I believe in with Clint Kubiak and what he's doing. When you run the ball effectively and you give your offensive line a chance to be aggressive in pass pro, and when you limit yourself to 26 attempts, you're going to be able in those 26 attempts to have a bunch of opportunities to be the aggressor, to, like I say, take the passive out of pass pro. And when you run the ball and you have that kind of mentality going into it, man, great things are going to happen. Like I say, great offensive line play really is more about the play caller and how you set those guys up than it is the individual players. And I think Clint's done a phenomenal job with that team. They did a great job. The quarterback did a great job of not turning the ball over this week. After he had the struggles against the Rams, but I thought the whole operation from an offensive standpoint was exceptional all afternoon. And so those things are really empowering. And then, you have that kind of lead. It allows your defense to get 5 or 6 sacks or whatever it was, and bring some blitzes and do the things you did, shut down that running game of the Tennessee Titans, which they did all day long. That was impressive as well.
There was obviously some concern coming out of last week's game with the 4 interceptions thrown by Darnold. He bounces back in this game. No turnovers for the entire team, or him, obviously. He did give them a couple opportunities that they didn't capitalize on, I'll say. But 2 touchdown passes. How did he look to you? Does he look to be the confident guy that went into that Rams game? I think there was some, oh boy, is he seeing ghosts again? Is it going to rattle his confidence? He looked the same to me. How do he look to you?
Yeah, no, he looked good to me. I mean, I'm guys, I'm a big Sam Darnold fan, and that deep throw to Smith-Njigba, I mean, you couldn't run down there and place it in his hands with any more accuracy. So that was great. The touchdown to Smith-Njigba, when he releases inside, pushes to the corner, and then hits the post. The timing of that route was incredible. They've just got such an unbelievable connection, time on task that they've had, and like I've said, man, I'm a fan. I have a lot of confidence in him. Hey, sometimes, man, you push the ball. Sometimes you make a few mistakes, and the other team takes advantage of them. And that was the game against the Rams. And really, probably when you look at that game and you really break that game down, they probably should have came away with a victory in that game. To turn it over 4 times, and I think 5 times they turned it over in that game, and to be -4 in the turnover differential and lose a game 21-19. Um, those things are oftentimes, you don't get credit for it, but those are oftentimes when you really figure out, hey man, we're really, really good. And if we just don't beat ourselves, there's not many teams that can beat us in this league. That's kind of what I came away with that game from. And then this is a tough one because Tennessee is not that talented a team. And you mentioned it, Jeffrey Simmons is by far their best player. And you got to have a plan against that dude because he is a beast inside. But they're not a very good team. So handling your business and having a big lead, and then giving up some of those points late. I thought it was a testament to kind of where they are right now as a football team and the way they're playing.
Where are you with penalties, Mark? I mean, I was looking at there was a couple.
I'm against them, Dave. I don't like penalties. I never have. I never will, especially holding calls. I don't believe in them. I think they should eliminate them.
That's what I figured you would say. But as far as, we were talking about turnover ratio is undefeated. But, penalties, I mean, I think the year that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl with the Legion of Boom, they led the league or they were top 5 in penalties. But, I mean, there was a couple of times but anyway, the Seahawks had 11. And there was a couple of times where they settled for field goals. But, I don't know. They were 5-yard penalties. So I don't know if that was like a big deal or not. But, I mean, as far as that goes, you look at a team that's, how indicative is that? And, I mean, is that something you think that it looks sloppy to you?
Yeah. Like when you get to 5-yard pre-snap penalties and things of that nature, those things just really, they kill you, right? Because you're starting off 1st and 15. You're starting off like those things kill you. Now, there are some penalties, like all penalties are not created equal. And like every now and again, a good old fashioned personal foul that really punishes somebody.
Yeah.
Every now and again, those are good. Those are really good things for your team. So like it is one of those things that's hard to like, you don't want to be stupid. And most penalties happen to you like when you're a little bit late, when things get a little bit complicated, you're a little bit late, especially on the offensive side of the ball, when guys aren't quite sure what they're supposed to do. That's when the penalties happen. And those are the things that drive me crazy because those to me are either we're being too complicated as an offense or there's a lack of preparation and getting ready for this game. And so those are those pre-snap penalties. Those are those holding calls when you're a little bit late off the ball and all of a sudden you got to reach out and grab somebody because you're not prepared. Those things kill your football team. Now, like I said, every now and again, like, you want a little frontier justice and you get a 15-yard personal foul. Like sometimes those things can be inspiring to your football team. So they're not all created equal, but I hate the pre-snap things and I hate the penalties that happen to your offense because you're just not prepared. Like those things drive me crazy and those things will hurt your football team.
Hey, looking at other things going on in the league, we're talking about the Raiders and former Seahawks coach Pete Carroll. That is a bad situation. Chip Kelly is been fired. Geno Smith flipping off the fans as he leaves the field. It feels like everything's going wrong out there. What's the cure? I mean, it's not like Pete took over a good team and now they're bad. They won 4 games last year. This disaster was started before he got there, but it doesn't appear, at least to this point, he's the one to fix it. Do you believe in him? Do you think he should get another year, and will he get another year? Or is this thing to rebuild and they're going to tear it down stem to stern?
You just can't. I mean, you can't tear it down every year. And I think that if you were, Pete's always going to be, as you guys know, one of those positive dudes that thinks he can fix anything, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, you walked into a situation where all the positive in the world's not going to fix that football team. And I did a Raiders game earlier this season between them and Jacksonville, and you look at their offensive line right now, and that thing is an absolute disaster. And so I don't care who you are, you can draft a young running back who I think has got a chance to be really, really good, like a really top-notch level running back, catching the ball in the backfield. He's blitz pickup kid. He's stout, great contact balance, all those things. But if you can't consistently block for him, sorry, it's just not like it's not going to work. They gave up 10 sacks to the Cleveland Browns in a game. 10 sacks. I went through the season in 1991 with the Washington Redskins, 19 games on the way to a world championship where we beat the Buffalo Bills. We gave up 9 sacks on the season.
Wow.
10 sacks in a game.
Yeah.
10 sacks in a game.
Yeah, Darnold's been sacked 11 times all year.
Right. It's just like, and again, that goes to the way you call plays. And I mean, God bless Chip Kelly, who was making $6 million. Like, you want to talk about, like, one thing I will tell you, and it was funny because I had this conversation with John Schneider about hiring a college offensive coordinator. The 2 games, the NFL game and the college game, are completely different animals. And, the field is different, the hash marks are different, the way you play is different, the level of attention to detail, the specialization is different. The college scripts, are, your third downs are a set of 5 plays. Third downs in the NFL are a set of 35 plays. Like situational football is different than college. It's a different animal, and the two don't necessarily equate. And so, Chip Kelly's been in the NFL. He's done a lot of things in the NFL, but his offensive philosophy and what it takes to win in the NFL they're just at odds with one another. And so I just thought that was a curious hire from the start. And then the $6 million, I thought that was curious, and you know what? And they seem to have paid the price for it. So offensively, I don't care who you are. I think defensively, the Raiders team could be pretty decent. But there's no complementary nature to the program. So like, there's not a whole lot you can do. And for Pete Carroll, you're going to have to start over on the offensive side of the ball and figure out who's actually going to coach your offensive line, how you're going to equip those guys to have some success, who's going to be the play caller's got to be in lockstep with whoever's calling, whoever's coaching your offensive line to take some pressure off of them. They've got a lot of work to do on the offensive side of the ball, to be sure.
When you met Pete Carroll, when you did the game, did you guys become best friends? Was it that kind
Yes.
of? Because I remember you said with Pete, every once in a while he'll just not recognize you or something, and then not that
Yeah.
he's being rude, and then there are other times where you're
sometimes he's got a lot on his mind, and it's like he's never met you before, and sometimes you guys are really tight.
Yeah.
Although we really connected because we were discussing something, and then he said to me, I was talking about my years as defense, as a defensive player in college. And that's when it completely locked in, like tractor beam. We just like automatically were like stepbrothers. Like, I knew there was a reason that I kind of liked you. I wasn't sure if I liked you, but I kind of liked you.
Yeah.
It's because I played defense for a while. So now all of a sudden, like, we're more relatable. I'm not just some guy who played offensive line and broadcast games.
Right.
Now I have a defensive background. So Pete kind of liked that a little bit.
Pete, he does have that. And the other quality about him, and this is why we root for him. I remember one time he asked me about my knees, and and he was like late for a meeting because whoever his assistant was like, yeah, we got to go. And Pete, like, he makes you feel like $1 million. I mean, it's like you're the only guy in the world or in the room, and he's just totally focused in on you. He's a real charisma guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's no question. And and I think the other thing he has done in the past, and I think this is both a strength and a fault at times. He hires an offensive guy and he says, "You go do your thing," and and gives them total authority to do their thing. Um, and then, like with Chip, if it doesn't work out, it's one of those things. He hires them and empowers them, and that's great. Uh, but it didn't work out in this particular instance, and I really believe that you look back on it, or he'll look back on it and go, man, you know what? Chip, like, God bless him, and I love him, but he's a college coach. And I need to stick in the professional ranks. And I don't know who's going to call plays out there. Maybe Greg Olson, who's been a long time Raider and has been in this league for a very long time under John Gruden, and he was with the Jaguars and everybody else. Maybe he takes over as a play caller. I'm not 100% sure.
We saw the Patriots hang on to beat the Bengals this week, and now they're 10-2. And I know that Cam Newton, in a very high-pitched, shrill voice, said they're fool's gold, and Stephen A. said Drake May is a liar, that the number one show on TV is First Take, and everybody knows that, which I thought was very entertaining. Are they fool's gold?
Yeah, by the way, you know how often I would just sit around in the locker room with the TV on while everybody else was in meetings, prepping for football, and just be watching ESPN nonstop on the loop.
Yeah.
I mean,
never.
Just the moronic arrogance of that statement. It just goes to show you, and I've been on TV for a long time. It just goes to show you the people who are shaping the opinions of the American, like, sports fan.
Yeah.
Don't know diddly squat about what actually goes on in a locker room environment. It's hilarity that we allow idiots to shape and I love Stephen A. Stephen and I are boys, but I would firsthand say, dude, you're an idiot if you think that the guys are sitting around going, you know what? Can we take a 15-minute break and see what First Take has to say, or see what? Give me a freaking break.
I just like the idea of the team meetings going on, but Drake May sitting out there watching First Take to see what they're saying.
Yeah,
I'll catch up with you guys. I got to see what Stephen A. and Cam Newton are saying about me here. But
there's a segment of the Patriots coming up on First Take that I got to catch. Can we push the meeting back 20 minutes?
Yeah, that would be well received. But are they?
Yeah.
Are they fool's gold? Do you look at that team with a 10-2 record right now, which I don't think anybody expected, certainly, but are they the real deal, or do they look beatable? This was a nip and tuck battle for them. What's your take on the Patriots?
Well, every team looks beatable.
Yeah.
I mean, like, right, like the mediocrity is the is the one thing that everybody has in common in the National Football League. There are no dominant teams. Maybe the Rams look the most dominant, but we've also seen them falter a couple of times. So there's no team that I think is completely dominant by any stretch of the imagination. Are they fool's gold? Well, one, they stop the run on a consistent basis, so they do that exceptionally well. And their quarterback is making big plays down the football field. They find themselves, they find their explosives in the passing game. I think Josh McDaniels, say what you want about him as a head coach, as a coordinator, he's exceptional, and he's exceptional at creating big plays in the passing game. And they don't just do it because they've got great, wide receivers, or their wide receivers are household names. They really do it off their play action stuff, really out of their two tight end formations is where they create a lot of big plays down the football field, even to their wide receivers. So, like, they're a really good football team. They've got a young offensive line that I think plays with great aggression. They're not always on point. But when they like, I think one of the things you always coach, or you always want as a coach, in an organization is I know we're going to make some mistakes, but let's make them at 100 miles an hour, and let's make them while we're shortening somebody's neck. Like, and if we can do that, we'll survive the mistakes. And I watch a guy like Will Campbell, that I'm like, I always think back to the draft. Well, his arms are short. Who gives a rip? His arms are short. While his arms are short, he's shortening your neck. Like that. That's what I want. That's what I care about. And if he misses or whiffs, he misses it with aggression. I always like my favorite offensive lineman has always been, like, since he got in the league, is Trent Williams.
Yeah.
And Trent Williams will come off the ball and he may whiff. He may completely whiff, but if he catches you, he may send you to the morgue. Like that's the intent he comes off the ball with. And I'm like, I love watching him play because he gives zero whats about I am trying to hurt you on every play. It's like the Will Anderson kid from Houston off the edge. He's just not trying to win his one-on-ones. He is trying to embarrass you on every single play, physically trying to embarrass you. And when you play with that kind of attitude, man, as a coaching staff, you'll say, hey, man, every now and again, we're going to make a mistake. That's all right. We're going to make it 100 miles an hour, trying to figuratively hurt people. And that's great. That's awesome.
He is Mark Schlereth with us each and every week. Always radio gold with this guy. Never mature, Mark. Never mature.
No, it won't happen.
We're not men. We're not men.
No, we're not.
Boys.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend. We'll talk to you next week.
Likewise. You guys have a great one. Take care.
Thanks, buddy.
There you go. There's Mark Schlereth. If you guys didn't catch all